We make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something.
Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton. Welcome to the show. You know, they say we only use a small percentage of our brain capacity, but I believe the same thinking may apply to our kitchen cabinets. We may not be using them to full advantage. Today, I'm going to convert a lot of hard-to-reach and unusable cabinet space into convenient storage by installing roll-out sliding shelves made from a kit. Then I'll show you a repair technique that can make even the most severely damaged wood almost as strong as new. I promise you, you'll find something useful in this half hour.
I feel like our kitchen is fairly convenient to use, except when it comes to the things stored in our base cabinets. I've got to practically get down on my knees even to peer inside, and most of the time, if I want something in the back, it means first unloading what's up front. I was sure there must be a solution to this, so I went online looking for one and came across a product called Quick Tray. The manufacturer claims it's easy to install, can be fitted to just about any opening, and offers adjustable shelf spacing. I've decided to give it a try. Step one for me is removing the doors and the narrow half shelf that's nailed into the cabinet. Then I take out the drawers, so I'll have better light and visibility while I'm working. This base cabinet was set up with 5 rather narrow individual doors, and I was going to put 5 sets of pull-out shelves in here. But then I got to thinking that each one of those shelves is going to be so narrow that I really couldn't put larger objects on it. So what I've decided to do is to remove this vertical face frame here and this one. That'll leave me with wide pull-out shelves here, and just one set of narrow shelves right here in the middle. Because of the granite countertop, I decided I'd better do some reinforcing if I'm going to remove those vertical supports. I first apply glue to a strip of oak, then slip the piece of wood up behind the rail that forms the top of the cabinet opening. A few clamps hold it in place, while I secure it from the inside with screws. With the reinforcing strip in place, I can now cut away the vertical face frame sections using a Japanese handsaw. I want to try and save these, since I may be able to reuse them later on. This system uses 4 support posts or pilasters for each pair of sliding shelves. I attach the first one to the side of the cabinet at the front. On the left side, because there's no cabinet wall, I'm installing this partition. Once it's in place, I attach the left front support post to it. I'll also need a partition in the rear of the cabinet to make up for the non-existent wall. Next, I snap 2 drawer glides into the slots on the rear support post. Set the whole assembly in place and snap the opposite ends of the glides into the corresponding slots on the front support post. This method makes sure that everything is in alignment, so I can go ahead and screw in the rear supports. Then I repeat the process for the left side of the cabinet. Well, that finishes the work on the base cabinets. Now I'm going to go on out to the shop and start building the slide-out shelves. Now this is the shelf kit that comes with the system. It consists of a front, a back, 2 sides, a bottom, and some glides. Now the interesting thing about this kit is that it can be sized to fit just about any opening. Let me show you how it works. My first step is to cut the front and back of the shelf to length, based on the size of the cabinet opening. I also trim the bottom shelf to the same dimension. The front and back have dovetail slots cut along their entire length. The sides have matching dovetails cut into the ends. Once the front and back have been cut to the desired length, the sides simply slip into the grooves. To assemble the sliding shelf, I brush glue on the dovetails, push the parts together, then tap them into position. With the frame complete, I apply glue to the edges, set the bottom in place, and secure it with screws. The final step is to attach the metal glides. The rolling shelves install in seconds. Later, they can be easily repositioned to accommodate whatever I wish to store on them. This slip-resistant shelf liner will keep any contents from sliding around when the shelves are opened and closed. The last thing I have to do is remount the doors. I attach the frame section I removed earlier to the back side so that when closed, the cabinet doors will look the same as before. You know, I've made a lot of improvements in this kitchen, but this is one of my favorites. Remember this shelf? If you could even see it, it was about 12 inches wide and tucked way up in the back of the base cabinet. I've doubled its size, and everything slides out now to meet me. Same with this bottom shelf. No more getting down on my hands and knees and looking back up there. I can stand on my feet, and everything presents itself to me. Now, if I want to change the shelf position, all I have to do is unhook the drawer glide, reposition it, and snap it back in place. And over here, for example, what I've done is put this shelf way down at the bottom to accommodate the tall bottles, and then up here, just a shallow shelf for some accessories. You know what I've learned from all this? That sometimes getting more storage space in my kitchen is not a matter of adding more cabinets, but getting more use out of the ones I already have. This antique doll carriage belongs to a friend of mine, and he asked me to repair it for him. You can see what the problem is right here. This rail is broken completely in half. Not only is it broken in half, though, but there's actually material missing. Right down here, you can see that. Well, this gives me a good chance to demonstrate something called a scarf joint. It's the kind of repair I use anytime I've got a break like this. I want it to look good when I'm finished, but even more importantly, I want it to be strong. I'm removing the part that needs repair so that I can clamp it flat on my workbench. I've cut a small strip of oak the same width as this broken rail down here. What I'm going to do now is lay this right on top of the rail and then clamp it in place. Next, I use a small straight edge to draw cutting guidelines on the strip of oak. Then, using my Japanese handsaw, I cut through both the oak strip and the carriage part at the same time. Now here's the piece that I cut out of that strip of new wood, and it should just drop right in here. Yep. And I've got virtually a perfect fit here because I clamped the two pieces together and cut through them both at one time. Next, I apply glue to the cut edges, set the section of new wood in place, then clamp it, first to the bench and then to the carriage part. I give the glue time to dry, and after that, remove the clamps. Well, at this point, the repair work is pretty much done. This is structurally sound now, but I do have to clean up the wood and see if I can blend in the color. These ultra-sharp rasps, called microplanes, allow me to shape and surface the new section quickly. A little sanding smooths things out and contours the edges. The original damaged section had a small notch to help hold the axle in place. I recreate one in the new piece using a handsaw and a chisel. Now I'm ready for some color. On small jobs such as this, I find that a furniture touch-up marker works really well. I just rub it on, blend it in, and dab off any excess. A top coating of shellac will seal in the stain, provide just a bit of gloss, and add a touch of color. Now, you'd really have to look to see this repair. And not only is it practically invisible, it's strong too. One antique doll carriage, repaired and ready to be enjoyed. Now, I picked up this wooden box at the auction the other day for a pretty good price. It's a primitive piece, probably from somewhere in Indonesia. Now, I don't mind the rough-hewn look on the outside, but I'd like to do something with the interior to dress it up a little bit. So, I'm going to line it with fabric panels. Now, this is the same process I would use if I were going to line a chest of drawers or an armoire. I start by cutting pieces of poster board to fit the bottom and all four sides. To give these panels a slightly cushioned or plush look, I first cover them with white flannel, which I cut slightly oversized. Then I apply spray adhesive to the poster board sections. Turn them over, press the cardboard in contact with the fabric, cut off the corners, fold over the edges. The clipped corners allow me to make a sort of miter without having to overlap the cloth. Now I cut the fabric in the same way. Apply adhesive to the flannel, then attach and fold the material. Once the panels are finished, I simply set them in place. On larger pieces, like armoires and drawers, I sometimes use double-stick foam tape or small dabs of hot melt glue to hold the sections in position. It also may help to use a stiffer board to make the panels more rigid. Now, you have to admit, that's a pretty easy way to turn something simple into something elegant. And if you want to change the fabric, just take these panels out and replace them. You know, long extension cords can quickly become a tangled mess. Well, here's a way to keep them organized and easy to use. Take a 5-gallon bucket and drill an 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 hole on the side. Pass the plug end through the hole and feed the rest of the cord into the bucket. Now, when it's time to do your job, just pull the cord out as much as you need. When you're finished, lay it back in. You don't have to be fancy about this. And pick up the bucket, walk away.
To view today's projects again, visit ronhazelton.com, where you'll find hundreds of how-to videos available 24/7.